profits. If you have not followed his Triple H Horse Racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Hello and welcome to episode 384 of Picks and Ponies right here on the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your proud host, Howard Kravitz. Thank you for joining us on what is a very chilly night here in the Midwestern part of the United States, but we're about to heat up the temperature because we're going to be talking about a difficult and fantastic pick four sequence, an all stakes pick four sequence for the inaugural, Turfway Park Synthetic Championships. 4 big races, huge fields, very high quality. Each race, $250,000, $250,000. I am very excited to talk about this sequence. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button on the bottom right hand side of the screen. Notification bell at the top right on YouTube, and smash that like button. We greatly appreciate it. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. Great tip sheet. Look below the video player for information. The ROI is still very high and very good. Checked it out. We got a great website, hhhracingpodcast.com. And here's some big news, but I'm actually going to bring on my co-hosts for this news right now because I want to share that with everyone of a very exciting show that is coming up. As I just realized my hat is a little bit jacked up. Okay, that's a little better. There we go. I'm so excited. My hat's all over the place. Let's go ahead and bring on our great co-host. First, from the Saratoga Special and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Mr. Paul Halloran, and from the East Coast of Maryland, Mr. Pete Visco. How you guys doing tonight?
What's up, gents? Hey, Paul.
Going to be pretty chilly at Turfway Saturday night too, I think, Howard. Because
it's going to warm up a little bit this weekend in the Midwest, but it's not going to be 60. That's for speaking of heating up. Before we talk about a big announcement of a show coming up, Mr. Pete Visco, 4 for 4. What the hell happened? Did the Earth just turn on its head or something? Just kidding.
Yeah, I'm surprised it hasn't frozen over yet. Literally.
I think those drones flying over New Jersey is actually you getting intel on some of these barns and horses or something.
Yes.
Anyway,
yes.
No, Pete, seriously, congratulations, man. Last week on the show, Pete, we handicapped 4 races. Pete had all 4 winners. Unbelievable. Both his best bets scored. You had a pick 5. I will say I'm a little bit of a heater myself, Pete, if I may just toot my own horn. Last 3 weekends, I've had a pick 6 and 3 pick 5s, all in the 4-digit range. Paul's had plenty of scores as well. Guys, never too late in 2024 to start crushing. Pete, congrats, man. Sometimes just your day, isn't it?
I mean, hopefully it's good that it was on the show, so hopefully some of our viewers benefited by,
absolutely.
And I think we all had some good opinions, and it just happened that mine happened to come out on top in every race. I mean, I'm not saying I'm the best, but I'm
not saying.
I'll hint towards it. Yeah, I'm not just hint towards it, but it was cool. Yeah, it's always cool to warm up, especially because I don't know if it's been that good the few weeks prior to that. A lot of 4 out of 5s. A lot of 4 out of 5s had been crossing the betting slips in the weeks before that. So.
Yeah, I had a little bit of dry spell in October and through the Breeders' Cup, and look, it's up and down. Paul, you have that face that you've sort of looks like you've struggled a little bit. I know some people, some hosts of the podcast or co-hosts, part of our families had their ups and downs. I mean, everyone does. If you're playing horizontally, Paul, you just have to get through these peaks and valleys. You have to get through the valleys because the peaks will make up for many valleys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I really haven't been doing I'm playing the stuff I mouth off about on the show because I feel obligated to, because I think if people have to be subjected to listening to me, I should at least put my money behind my loudmouth. So I always play my show opinions. And yeah, Pete, I had my guys that I go to Saratoga with. We actually started an informal club called the 4 out of 5 Club. So
my cousin,
very popular club.
My cousin Nick, that you guys know, his X handle is at 4 out of 5 because he is also he's the master of the first and third in the exacta, like a 3-horse box. The first and third. That is his. On my picks that I send out on Saturday, I actually was 5 for 5 on my best bets. So it really was just one of those days where I just you see the ball the right way. But
Yeah.
hopefully tonight it's not all losers to make up
there's
for it.
There's a lot of knuckleballs coming at you in Florence, Kentucky Saturday night, Pete.
There's a lot. This is a tough sequence. But yes,
Very
Howard,
tough.
get into our news. Why don't you
Let's get into it.
News?
I went with the plain blue background because I actually don't have a Turfway background, and I just didn't have time to take care of that. So we'll just go with our generic blue background. The quick news, first of all, before we get to that, people in the chat real quick. Chris Couples is here. Matt Miller's here. Katie's here. Ed Berg. It's Burr. It's cold in Michigan. We hear you, Ed. Terry Frank is here. St. Louis. Ralph Conti. What's up, Ralph? How are you doing? Anyway, a lot of great people here. Please make sure you join us in the live chat. If you are watching on X, hop over to the YouTube channel so you can be a part of our live chat. Guys, here's the big news. I'm going to take the banner off. Monday night. There it is, bottom of the screen. Look who we've got. Oh, my. Oh, my. I put it on X earlier, guys. Mike Rapoli and Kenny McPeak will be joining us. I want to make sure, I want to be clear. I don't want to deceive people. These are taped episodes. They could not join us live Monday night, but they've been kind enough to do a taped episode. So you will hear from Mike Rapoli and Kenny McPeak Monday night, their opinions on their horses, Fierceness and Torpedo Anna, respectfully. And they're going to make their case, gentlemen, for Horse of the Year. Monday night is a Horse of the Year show. I'm working on a Sierra Leone connection. I'm not sure it's going to happen, but we'll talk about those three horses, guys. People do not want to miss Horsing Around back Monday night, 7:30 Eastern. And as we get into our picks for Turfway, Paul, I just will let you mention, everyone, that you are officially an Eclipse voter this year. Your thoughts on now the Horse of the Year candidates have not officially come out yet. I just want to be clear, but the awards are late January. Tell us when they announce the finalists, and you don't have to give away secrets, but I mean, who are you leaning towards if I said those three were the Horse of the Year candidates?
Yeah, I believe, Howard, I'm pretty sure we'll be getting our ballots next week because they always encourage us to not do anything till at least after the opening day at Santa Anita, because obviously the Malibu often could have something to do with the sprint, right? And they're probably due the first week. The events, right, usually around January 20th, I believe.
Yes. Pegasus weekend, Thursday of Pegasus weekend, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Right. I think you could make a very compelling case for Torpedo Inn, and all joking aside, if with our Derby pick and all that, but and Sierra Leone was very impressive at Del Mar when we were there, but clearly I believe Sierra Leone is third of those three. I don't have any problem saying that. I think, though, you could I just think on balance, I think as a filly, and we'll talk about this Monday more.
We'll talk about it Monday, yeah.
I think you do have to run against the boys. It's great to beat them. I mean, she was one stride away from doing it. So, yeah, I'm leaning in that direction, but I will take a judicious amount of time with my ballot, as I always do. I didn't have to take much time on Horse of the Year last year. I will take more this year.
Paul, should Howard mention to Kenny and Mike that your Horse of the Year vote is up for sale if they want to donate a couple bucks? Paul Halloran Pick 5 fund, maybe?
I was going to say maybe Rapoli, because Rapoli is $100 million. I think Kenny himself would like to have Rapoli's bankroll. I had the pleasure, and Matt Miller too. We had the pleasure of sitting with Kenny at the Turf Writers Awards dinner out at Del Mar this year, and and you'll see Howard and viewers, when it's what you see is what you get. He's just a regular guy. And as far as Rapoli, I think he's great for the game. And I know sometimes he pisses people off, but he's passionate about it, and he puts his money where his mouth is.
Well, anyway, we're going to talk both of them. It's going to be pre-recorded interviews, but we'll be showing it Monday night, and you guys will be joining us Monday night as well to talk about this debate. So no reason to get ahead of it.
And I assume we'll be doing an Eclipse show like we did last year at some point when everything comes out. I like the Eclipse show. I think that's a fun one.
Sure, we can do that again. We're also going to do a HHH
meeting
Racing
during the show, like we say.
We also plan a HHH Racing Podcast year in review show coming up the last weekend of this month. And it's not just about horse racing. We'll show some pictures and stuff about us personally in terms of trips and just the whole 2024 HHH Racing podcast experience. Of course, we're going to mainly talk about the horses and the big races that occurred. All right, guys, speaking of big races, Turfway Park, inaugural synthetic championships. Now, look, okay, all you Tapeta haters, all you synthetic haters, you don't have to watch the show. I mean, we love you. We hope you're going to stay on here. But look, they have some very good races, guys, Saturday, Turfway Park. It's already a difficult track. These are big, big fields. They're putting up 250K each, guys. There's an all-stakes pick 4, which I didn't see originally. I called or actually texted with Kevin Kirstein of Media Relations of Churchill to ask him about that. And there is an all-stakes pick 4. It didn't come out officially until today because I think they finalized the past performances today because I didn't see it originally, which I thought was sort of weird. But there is. I was
actually going to do a mini rant on that because I was
thinking about it too, Pete. But there is an all-stakes pick 4.
Yeah, when they first released the PPs, it wasn't there. I was like, how could you have an all-stakes pick 4 in the middle of the card and not do a pick 4 sequence? But luckily they did.
I don't know, but there is an all-stakes pick 4, guys. Let's jump into it, including, I can't wait to talk about the last race, Paul. You know I'm excited to talk about the last race we're going to discuss because our friend is back that we always try to beat at Woodbine. We'll see if everyone's going to try to beat this horse in race 7 at Turfway Park. All right, we'll get to that, guys. Let's start with race 4. The sequence, it's races 4, 5, 6, 7 in the middle of the card, which is interesting. Saturday night, race 4, 7:33 Eastern is the first leg of this all-stakes pick 4, the first of 4 synthetic championship races. There's 2 for the girls, 2 for the boys. The first 2 are for the girls. This one is 2-turn. The other one is a sprint. Mile to 16th, of course, on their synthetic Tapeta. Field of 11. All these fields are big. Moreline favors the number 4. Dana's Beauty, Michael Maker, Louis Size. Let's go ahead to our picks that have been coming up at the bottom of the screen. And also, as I do that, let's put us on screen. We've been doing a lot of best bets lately, which I actually have enjoyed that change, guys. I decided tonight to give our viewers and fans a pick 4 ticket because we don't do a lot of 4 race sequences. And I thought this was such a great sequence with big fields that instead of doing a best bet, I think pick 4 strategy would be interesting to discuss. There's the field. I'm going 8, 4, 11. Pete's going 7, 2, 4. Paul's going 2, 7, 11. We all have 3 different horses. Let's go with the hot man right out of the box. Pete Visco. Everyone, you might as well just go to the bank right now. Go to the ATM. Go to the windows and bet number 7, Ghostly Gal, for one of my Chicago guys, Wayne Catalano and Vincent Chaminade, who's had a very good start to the Turfway meet. This is a 6-year-old mare, is the second favorite right now, morning line. What do you like about the 7, Ghostly Gal, Pete?
Yeah, this is one of those, a theme we'll have when we go through these races is a lot of the horses that are in contention are coming off turf or dirt, and they're not coming off recent synthetic races. And this is one who, after the move to Catalano, and once this horse went back on the turf, has just exploded. And you could see on the screen there's 3 straight wins. Now the company is a little cheaper, so it's a step up in class for sure. But what I just like is the consistent improvement from a buyer standpoint. You see the jumps. You see the 2 of the last 3 time form numbers were squarely in the mix for the rest of this field. And I just like that there's something that shows there's some improvement. So it must be the move to Catalano. It was the move back to the turf, which once you see that, and this horse has had success on the synthetic. So it's not like she doesn't run the synthetic. She's 5 out of 6 in the money. She has a win over the Turfway course. So for me, I'm just looking for a horse that's in form. And again, as long as that form translates back to the synthetic, I think she's in a really good position.
I think so. And she beats the number 4, Fair and Square. I thought they both got very good trips in that race. Yeah. I'm talking about the number 4. I watched that replay again. It's tricky to show replays through CDI, so I'm not going to have a replay for Dana's Beauty. Got the jump and just couldn't hold on. They both had very good trips. I'm not saying not to bet the 4 or the 7. I'm just simply claiming they both got really good trips in their last race. Paul, let's talk about the 2. Now, I'm chuckling because Forever Dixie is a horse I've chased the last 2 times. In fact, she's been power pick spot plays and I have to say I've been extremely disappointed. 2 back, Forever Dixie. This is a Cassie Machado horse, was just way too far back and ridden way too passively. Last time, it was a fast pace. It just didn't really pick up her feet. I'm sure on Saturday she's going to stuff me in the locker now that I'm not using her at all. I'm personally against her. You've got her on top. Pete's got her second. Maybe Saturday's her day. I just don't love what I've seen from the last 2. Convince me otherwise, Paul.
Well, now I'm a little concerned, Howard, because if you couldn't catch her, then I'm not sure I want to play her, because you said you chased her. So if you couldn't catch
chase her.
I have a couple of reasons why I like this horse. Probably 3. One is she does have a big class edge. She's running nothing but graded stakes at Woodbine. And, you could say it's Woodbine, but there's still grade 2s and grade 3s. 2, I think this might be one of those cases, and I probably talk about it too much, but sometimes these big closers are more effective at a shorter distance where they could have more punch. 3, that is, if she can make the move, the slingshot move on the turn here at Turfway is often a winning move. And 4, you mentioned the ride last time. She's going to get a good ride on Saturday night because despite any transgressions he may have had with recognizing the finish line at various racetracks, Luan Machado is riding this track very well, and I think this horse will get a good ride. I like this post. I don't mind the inside going around 2 turns here, and I just think again, a 4-race sequence at Turfway. Good luck if you're going to have 4 favorites in a row. And not that this horse is any bomb. This horse is 7-2. But, the way things go there, you probably should have won 20-1. In fact, I do have a 20-1 horse on my ticket. We'll see later. I have the 11 horse on my ticket. But, yeah, I just think everything adds up to this horse maybe being in the right spot at the right time. So how is that for making the case, Professor?
I'm chuckling because I'm looking, my phone's ringing. And I just set up some interviews, and I suppose I should be answering it, but Kenny McPeak was just trying to call me. So, Kenny, I doubt he's listening to the show right now live, but if he is, I apologize, Kenny. I will be getting back to you shortly. Hopefully it doesn't mean he's going to change his plans, but we'll see. But anyway, Paul, as usually, make cogent arguments. Pete, we looked at the time form pace rating. If she's last into a pace that does not project to be fast, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, and that was why I put the horse in second, and was more, my note was more that it was a great board horse on the synthetic, that I like the switch to hit the board, but my concern was she just hasn't been breaking well, and the non-breaking is going to get her in trouble in this race potentially, just because I don't think the pace will heat up. Now, you never know, something could happen, but again, she is dropping in class a bit, and I agree with Paul. The one point he made that I really liked was, I thought maybe the 1 1/4, the 1 1/8 were a little tougher for her, and she just didn't run as well, and she hasn't run as well. And maybe now the cutback and hopefully that late kick, she'll be able to sustain the late kick going a little shorter. But again, I just think she needs help. And hopefully for Paul's pick and just in general, I think if hopefully she gets that help with a little bit of pace up front.
I think so. This is I love the live. I should probably take myself off screen because I'm just reading Mr. McPeak's text that we're have to change our plans for when we're going to tape the show. So I'll tell you what. Paul. Let's move on. I'll let you guys comment on my horse.
You guys do that. You guys do that, and I'll.
Well, yeah, no. This is all good. I'll tell you what. I'm going to take a stand with number 8. Take a stand. Pete and Paul, why don't you talk a little bit about this horse? And I'm just going to quickly text Kenny here. Is with live podcast, and that's what it is. Matt said just call him right now.
Yeah, I agree.
But that could be.
We could talk.
You want me to do that?
All right. Yeah, I think. Pete, did we get by 30 seconds without him?
I mean, the best shows we have are when it's just me and you, so I think we'll be all right.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead, guys. Talk about Take a Stand and anything else. And I'm not going to switch the screen, but talk about Take a Stand, and I'll make this a 1-minute phone call if I can.
Go ahead. So I don't know, Paul. Did you have a thought on? Because I didn't like the horse because of the, you see the 0 for 8 at the distance. You see, there's just not a lot of winning that goes on. You see 10 out of 26 in third. So to me, it was, hey, if you get this horse at a price, if she floats up a bit, wouldn't mind putting her in the money in a try or something, but I'd have a hard time with this horse on the win end. I don't know about what do you think?
I agree, Pete. If I were playing tries in the race, which I probably won't be, I think I would be using this horse. To your point,
Yeah,
I did look at that. Vicky Oliver is low percentage this year, but boy, I think she's pretty good. So I wouldn't be certainly have any qualms about playing one of her horses. It just seems, I know if you go down to early this year at Turfway, she did have a couple of good races on the synthetic. The race at Presque Isle really wasn't good. I think, ironically, Pete, I think the horses coming from Churchill into this meet, the horses coming off dirt are running at least as well, if not better, than the horses coming off turf.
Which is generally the opposite of what people think.
Well, right. I think there's a conception out there that it's closer to turf, which it is, but that doesn't mean that every single horse who
not just automatic. Yeah.
Right.
Come on, Terry. It's privileged information. All right, guys. Minor change of plans. We are still having Kenny McPeak on the show Monday. We're gonna do a taped episode. We just had to his plan change. We had to it was not a scratch. We're moving Kenny to a different race. Is what we're doing. So
can we get him before Monday or no?
Oh yeah. Before Monday.
Oh, good.
Yeah, right, we're gonna have it. We're gonna have his taped episode ready for Monday night. Right. I don't know what you guys said, but I think this is a wide open race, guys, and I like Contreras on this horse. I think Vicky Oliver is underrated. I don't like the 3 for 26. I will say that, but I just don't feel like the two horses we talked about, the 4 or the 7, really lays over the field. I want to take something that's got a little more of a price, and this horse is 3 for 3 at Turfway Park in the money. I'm assuming you mentioned that as well, or if you didn't, I'll throw that in there. So, I'm going to take a stand, guys. I think it's a pretty open race. I do want to mention the 11 because the 11 is a huge price. And you know what? My good friend Paul Halloran, I'm always happy when I've got a bomb and Paul's got a bomb in there too.
You like the 11, Howie? All right.
Yeah. A little, I do a little bit, Paul. And I'll let you talk about Canisi and we're going to move on. But if we're going to throw a 20-1 in our, in our top 3, we got to mention it. I'll let you go first real quick. What do you think is interesting about Canisi? And I'll tell you what I like a little bit about Canisi, the 11, 20-1 in this race. More than likely.
Well, I mean, I like Lanieri on him, number one. I think the horse potentially is only run on synthetic once, but that was down at Gulfstream. But, an 80 is not a terrible number on synthetic as we're looking at this field. So I think numbers-wise might be okay. Obviously, there is a trip to be worked out from out there, but Lanieri seems to be able to work out trips, and it looks to me, Howard, like you talked about the potential paucity of speed. That was excellent alliteration. Wow. That this guy could be this gal, pardon me, could be tactical from out there and maybe be put in position. Yes, it's only coffee, but. So there, and I almost put her in my top. Oh, I did put her in my top 3. Good. I feel better.
Okay. I agree with everything. You know what, Paul? Actually, Pete, I thought about harness racing in this race, and people were like, "What are you talking about?" I know Pete's used to be a harness guy, maybe still is. The 11's got a 91 time for him early, right, Pete? Let me go. Well, I'm not gonna go full screen. All the horses to her inside are slow early, 66, 55, 70. And then you got Ghostly Gal, 91. But then you got another slow horse, 60, 58, and Dana's Beauty. But then everyone else is slow. Here's my point. Just like harness racing, Pete, I like to have horses that have early speed when there's not a lot of early speed inside of them, because in theory, they can just cross over a lot easier. That's what I see with Canisi. If she's ridden aggressively or even not so, I think she can tuck in. She has plenty of numbers on the go back that fit. If she could just get the right trip, I don't think she's going to be 20-1, but I listen, I'll take 15-61 in a heartbeat on this horse.
Yeah, I actually had her as a C. She's on when we
Okay.
to give away our ABC grid that we do on our picks. I had her on the C line. I didn't like the last two races. They were just a little disappointing, and they were coming off a little bit of a layoff, and it was after the switch from Clement to Delacour. So it just gave me a little bit of pause. But at 20-1, that's baked in. That's baked in the price.
Absolutely.
We didn't talk real quick. I know not to go waste too much time, but we didn't talk about the favorite. Dana's Beauty. I know Noah in the chat had thrown in a stat about
let's
Mike
throw
Baker.
that stat up. Let me find it. Go ahead.
I think he was 0 for his last 38 at Turfway,
crazy.
in case you don't find it. And I actually had a stat. I didn't look at just Turfway. I had that he was 0 for 31 going turf to synthetic routes at Turfway in the past 2 years. So I guess they all overlap each other. But that's a horse who's really in good form that's going to take money. Noah also said Cassie 4 for his last 11 with Woodbine shippers. So that is a lovely stat as well. Small sample size, but productive, hopefully.
I do want to say something about our good friend Noah Maher, who's very sharp handicapper, host of Pacific Horse Players. Guys, he's got a lot of final exams coming up. Noah, get back to your studies, man. I mean, we love the stats, but
not. Stop it.
Go out.
Don't corrupt them like
watch
that.
the show and then go out to a bar. That's what you do during finals or midterm week.
Well, rumor has it he had an 8-hour library binge yesterday, guys. I'm not sure Paul's even been in a library for.
I was going to say,
Paul.
I wonder if that equals my 4 years.
I was going to say that's way over my 4 years.
Well, Holy Cross is full of scholars at Holy Cross, from what I understand. No,
they are, but who knew there were 4 dog tracks within an hour? But there were, and yes, 1 week, Pete, I did visit them. Pete, yes, 1 week I did visit different ones on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Wow,
that sounds lovely to me, Paul. That is much better than studying. And look what the successes that we've become. So obviously, it didn't matter.
It could be worse, right?
Could be worse. Yeah, we could be
using multiple syllable words in my book, Pete. So it could be worse.
I mean, you got a book coming. We're carrying this podcast, you and I. So I mean,
well, that's what we were talking about when Howard was off. Someone put in the chat they want to know what we were talking about. I said we were talking about rescuing this show from the abyss. Sorry, go ahead, Howard.
All right. Let's move on.
Fifth race.
Let's move on from this nonsense. Race 5, Holiday Inaugural Stakes. And all these are inaugural races, guys. And I would assume they're going to continue to do this if it's successful. And I see no reason why this 4-sequence night will not be successful. I think the handle is going to be pretty big. The other thing we should mention, let me take this off screen. There's a big live money contest, guys, Saturday. I wonder if anyone we know might be jumping in to the live money contest pool. So it is a $10,000 first prize cash, by the way, which is pretty good amongst other things as well, obviously. So good luck to anyone who's going to be playing in the live money contest at Turfway Park on Saturday. All right, guys, Holiday Inaugural Stakes Race 5. This is the sprint race for the ladies. 6 furlongs. Of course, it's a big field. It's 12. There's 2 AEs. The morning line favorite here is the number 5, Uppercase, for Paul Lobo and Mr. Roman in the saddle. Very interesting. Let's see who we are going to go with here in the Holiday Inaugural. I'm going 6-11-8. Pete's going 11-6-8. Paul's going 6-4-8. We got a lot of what, 6, 11s, and 8s. Pete and I actually have the same 3. Interestingly enough, we all have the 8 in there, who's 10-1 morning line. Paul, let's go to you first. You and I are the same, sir. Nice as pie. I'll tell you who's also really nice and very good. Kelsey Danner is having a record year for her stable. She's a very good trainer. I've got to know her personally a little bit. I've met her a few times, guys, with our horses with Crown's Way Racing, and she's coming full bear into this night. Nice as pie is 7-2 morning line. What do you like about her, Paul?
Well, I just think, Howard, again, we talk about class, and if you just go back to the bottom 5 races on the PPs, in this type of company, listed stakes, she's been very tough. The Penn Oaks was a good race this year. That could have been a graded race, and she missed by a head. And I think both of those races she ran in her last 2 races were good races. I mean, Roses for Deborah, we know, is a real horse. And that poolside with Slim is a pretty good horse. So I agree with you about Kelsey on everything you said about her. I like her. I think she's underrated. I think she looks good for this night. It behooves especially a trainer like her, to have these 4 $250,000 races to shoot at in the freaking middle of December. I mean, that's a pretty good deal. So, and by the way, Luis Saez.
Yep.
Above all that, we're picking up Luis Saez. So I really like this horse a lot, Howard, and a little more now that I see you have her.
Well, thank you, Paul. I was going to mention that too. Blinkers on and Luis Saez, Paul, screams.
That's not possible.
Screams, I need this horse closer from Kelsey. So I don't think the 6 is going to be last here, but it is a fast pace, Pete. So even if she is closing from farther back, she'll get the pace run into in theory. But no Adam Bishizu, who's been riding her, or as our good friend Kyle Roscoe likes to say, Adam Bishizzle my nizzle, is off. Louis on. Pete, there's a lot of intent there. I don't know if she's a little frustrated with Adam or just I don't know what the story is there, but I'm very happy that Louis Saez is on Nice as Pie.
Yeah. I was teetering between the 6 and the 11 on top, so I'm right with you guys. And part of it, you see, she's 4 for 4 at Turfway, 4 for 5 on the synth, and the same thing. The combination of the blinkers and Saez is hopefully going to get her, because her last 5 races, she's really been. I mean, 5 back, she wasn't super far back, even though she was in 8th. But those last 4, she's just been giving herself a little too much to do, and hopefully Saez will rectify that, and the blinkers hopefully should help. And like Paul said, she's coming out of some pretty decent company, some high quality horses. She's been bouncing around from, the distances and stuff as well. But you see, she's also 3 for 4 going 6 on the win end. So maybe she's back to doing what she likes to do and is doing it against fillies and mares that are more on her level. She is the only 3-year-old, I think, in the race. But at this point in the year, I mean, in 3 weeks, she'd be a 4-year-old running against them, and we wouldn't even think twice about it, most likely. Exactly. So I don't really worry about that at this point.
Yeah, her Tapeta record is outstanding. Her synthetic record at Turfway, you just can't ignore the 4 for 4. Love Appeals, a horse that I know pretty well from the Clement barn. This is a very nice horse who has done absolutely nothing wrong, Pete. Chaminad's here. Chaminad's 2 for 18 so far before tonight at Turfway. I think they're running at Turfway tonight. I'm not sure. I could be wrong about that. Yeah. What do you like about Love Appeals? A little bit of a tricky post, but boy, is she in really good form, Pete. And I think she's very logical here.
Yeah, I really like this horse, and that's why I wound up landing on her on top, even though she's never been on the synth. There's a couple things, and we don't talk a ton about it. You can see on the screen there, she's got a 407 Tomlinson. I don't know if you want to show that for people who don't necessarily use that. She has a 407 Tomlinson, and there's a thing on the time form side, which we never really reference, but time form, I don't know if you want to go to it just in case people don't usually look at it. If you don't mind. I mean, I think this is a good way to use it. And
we don't show it too often, to be honest.
That much. But if you go down to her directly, then you see that 94. So if you click on the blue 94 up a bit in the breeding section. So basically they tell you where that's their gauge and their calculation as to what the horse will do or what the horse's grade is out of 100. And this one's a 94 out of 100 going synthetic sprints, which again, that goes along with the 407 Tomlinson. So hopefully that means that this horse will translate to the synthetic pretty well. There hasn't been any works on the synth recently, but I figured the form that she's in excellent form on the turf. She seems to just be getting a little bit better incrementally every time. You see she had a lifetime time form top, lifetime buyer top, I think, in the last. So everything is trending upward. It's just the point of whether she'll take to the synth. Speightstown 20% win in synth sprints as well. So there's a lot of support that she will. Well, I guess we'll see. And I do think she's tactical enough, Howard, to your point about the pose. I think she's tactical enough that as long as she breaks okay, I think she can get herself in decent enough position.
I think so. Pete, you just taught me something. I need to look at the time form PPs more carefully, and frankly, I gotta learn them better. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I'm a.
You know what? I use one-on-ones when I handicap. I put the DRF side on one screen and the time form on the other, and sort of bounce between the two, and that comes in handy sometimes.
There's a comment from, I think we just did it, unless he wants to explain further. He said, you guys seldom talk about this stuff. I'm assuming, I'm not sure if he's talking about the number, the 95 or not, but it goes up to 100,
I
I would
assume so.
assume,
Yeah,
right?
it goes up to
Okay.
100. So,
All right.
and again, it's not. I don't follow it enough to know how accurate it generally is, but I do look at it just to see if they're in line with, the Tomlinson and if it's in line with what I'm seeing from my basic understanding of the breeding side, just from clicking in and looking at the sibs and stuff.
Paul, we've all got the 8, and I'll let you touch on the 4 real quick, and we'll move on. BG Warrior. Last time I checked, Rudy Brissett, pretty good trainer, right? This is a big switch. Big trainer switch with Giroux, and people could say, I don't like Giroux, whatever. I don't know. All I know is one thing. If this horse is not on the lead, I'll be shocked, and I see nothing wrong with getting a horse on the lead in a big field that's wide open. I don't know, again, if we're getting 10-1, but if Rudy's got this horse right, and he's had this horse now for over a month, you would have to assume, Paul, I think the number 8 BG Warrior is fascinating at a price, or you have her third. Actually, we all have her third, Paul.
Yeah, I agree, and I agree with your assessment of the speed setup. I think this horse is definitely going, and that's one thing I do like about Giroux is on a horse like this. I know, Howard, you're only picking horses ridden by Frenchmen and trained by Frenchmen, hence Cheminot and Clement and Giroux and Brisset. But beside that,
and Denaire. Oh wait, Kelsey's not French. That doesn't work. Okay.
No, I the 10-1 did attract me once I started looking at this horse. It could just be a send and go as far as you can, and then we'll see how the race flow goes, right?
Okay.
But I think 10-1, this horse is worth a look. Yes.
Wesley Ward, Sunday shoes on a Saturday, Paul, perhaps.
Sunday shoes, I think I'm going to use as an A. Yeah, I like this horse.
Okay.
Again, I thought that the Presque Isle Downs Masters is traditionally a good race. Groupie Doll prepped for the Filly Mare Sprint by winning it one year. I think, I like this horse. Wesley and Corrales are outstanding together, as you can see in the numbers. I think this horse's synthetic numbers are good. This horse is an A for me.
Interesting. Okay. I thought she was a little cheap and a little slow. And if I were in a certain mood, I'd make a joke about that, but I'm not going to. Guys, Matt Miller was talking about the Tomlinson number, by the way, Pete, that we don't talk about the Tomlinson number. Anything over, I don't know if there's an official number. I would say anything over 350 is pretty good. And if it's over 4, it's really good. Is that?
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
Would you guys say that's about right?
That's the way I look at it. I look at it for sort of outlier numbers. And neither one of us, it was funny, we don't have to go back, but none of us had the 5 uppercase who's 3-1.
No, we really,
in our top 3. We all left that horse out. Any big reason, Howard? You have because the horse is in really good form, but I didn't.
I'm not sure about the Sin. 2 for 3. I don't know. I guess I'm not sure about Roman, but knows the horse well. And the horse has been getting really good trips and might not get the same kind of trip. And there's other speed. I don't know. I don't. It's interesting. I mean, I love all.
It's just funny. We all left it out.
Yeah, I don't.
3, so,
I'll let smarter people like you two make a more cogent argument. I don't have a great argument. I just don't have a good feel for the source.
The only thing I would say, Pete, is I think the 5 also is going to be forward, and I think the 8 is faster.
So yeah, that was fine.
I think race flow wise, right? Could.
Did last time.
I think people in general, Howard, in my profession, people overuse uppercase, so I didn't want to do it in this race.
Very good, my friend. Very, very clever. All right, let's go on to race 6, guys. Race 6. These are the 2 male races in a row. This one, race 6. I got to move forward. Excuse me, guys. Race 6 is the Prairie Bayou. These are the first of the 2 male races. This is the distance race, mile and a 16th. Boy, guys, this is I'll tell you what, this is a really good field. I mean, if people are wondering, by the way, Howard, why aren't these races graded? This is the inaugural running of these races, and therefore they cannot be graded, but they can be graded next year, Paul, or is it you gotta wait 2 years? I'm trying to remember. I think they actually have to wait 2 years for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question.
Seems sort of silly to me too, but whatever. Who cares? It's a really good race. How about that? Field of 12. Also eligible are 13 and 14 are 30-1. But I want to mention it, guys, because they both have a lot of early speed. And if either one of them get in, and I looked at that carefully, people need to pay attention to the AEs, guys, ladies. Please always pay attention to the AEs. If one or especially both get in, we're talking about a completely different pace scenario. So
they were the
keep
top
in mind
two
for
from
scratches.
the time form, right? I think they were the
Absolutely.
top two numbers. I think, yeah.
I think they were. I don't like either one of them at all.
No,
But if they do get in, that people need to pay attention and possibly change their picks. Anyway, there's the field right there. A wide open race. Again, Moorline favorite is the number 7, Wadsworth. Second off the layoff for Brad Cox, who's been absolutely on fire. And Giroux, who I've noticed is getting some more mounts for Brad lately. I think it's because Pratt is not riding as much right now,
No,
I would assume.
No, he rides a lot for Brad Howard.
Yeah, he's not first call, though. So, anyway.
Well, it's Turfway on a Saturday in December. He is.
It's $250K, Paul. There's nothing wrong with that. But Pratt's already he's already broken the record for stakes wins in a year. So why break more records? I'm going 7-1-10. Pete's going 10-6-7. Paul's going 7-3-10. Paul, once again, Paul and I are running with the same horse in Wadsworth. That horse has no chance now. So Pete, give us the winner in Wonderful Justice for Sharp and Jaramillo, a horse that I had 2 back at Aqueduct at a nice price that helped me in a nice juicy pick 5. Paul and I both have Wonderful Justice third. What do you like about this one? Turf to dirt, Pete.
Yeah, this is actually
Turf
to Sin. This is actually a little bit of a similar story than we talked about in the last one. First time, never been on the synth, but the Justify horses 22% in synth routes, 22% wins. Again, we'll reference the Tomlinsons. We have been talking about it. A 401 Tomlinson on the synth. I don't remember what it was on. I didn't know what it was. So it must not have been super high on the time form side. But what I liked, again, there's been a change. So this horse left the Cox barn and went to Joe Sharp, which, generally if you leave the Cox barn or one of the big trainers, you never know what's going to happen. But even just from a figure standpoint, this horse has improved since then. 2 back, I like the race. The one last time against some pretty good horses, Battle of Normandy and Gigante, Reckoning Forest. Those are some pretty quality horses, grade 3, true grade 3, I think, level horses. And those 2 were going 1 1/8, 1 3/16. Now we're cutting back a bit. So I think because of the way this horse runs, I think there's some tactical ability, should be able to sit pretty close, has been a little bit closer. And if you look, the last 2 works coming in, you see a 47-2 Bullet. You see a 47-3 Bullet. So the horse just seems to be, and even before that was a 48. So trending nicely from that last race and then dropping down just a touch. I think this horse is just in really good form. And at 8-1 in a field that I think is pretty wide open, like you talked about, there's a lot to like about him.
I want to be very clear, like I just did about 2 minutes ago. If the 13 or 14 get in, I would be much, much, much less likely to use the 10. If the 13 and 14 do not get in, I do think the 10 is interesting. My only concern, Pete, and I think you made great points, and she can win, and I'm going to use her. Actually, I have her as my third A right now, is she might be better going longer. And if the pace is hot, that might not work out for her. You could say, well, she could sit off it, but maybe she's just better, more long-winded type on the lead as opposed to chasing hot pace and stalking. So I like your pick. I don't know if we're getting 8-1. She's fascinating. I have a minor reservations though, but we'll see what happened. I do like the pick.
It's a he, by the way.
What did
You
I
said
say?
she about 12 times in that little soliloquy. So yeah.
What the hell's wrong with me? Hold on a second.
Well, we know we talked about 2 female races leading in, so it was on the mind. But
I don't know. Yeah, I don't.
But I agree with you, Howard. I mean, this isn't like
Okay.
some standout pick where this is a wide open race to me, and I was relatively deep in this one.
Matt Miller, are you paying attention out there? If I had to pick one horse that I like the most in this sequence, guys, I guess a play of the day. I know he's only 3-1. It might be this one, Paul. I love the second off the layoff. I thought the horse ran really well last time and needed the race. He's got back numbers that absolutely fit. You would think he's going to improve. He's going to come off the pace in a race that's got some speed in it. I like Wadsworth for the men in blue who are absolutely on fire right now, Paul. I like Wadsworth quite a bit. I would probably bet him as low as 2-1. I mean, I wouldn't bet less than 2-1, but I do like him a lot here.
I agree, Howard. I like this horse a lot. This horse is a straight A for me. I ran very well off the layoff, and going a mile on turf, got nailed at the wire by a good horse. Ran very well, has run very well at Turfway. I mean, that the JR Stakes obviously came back pretty well in 23 based on what Two Phils did in the Derby.
Yes.
So yeah, I would say all systems go here.
Okay, I agree. Very quickly, we're going to move on, but I do want to mention the one. Hush of a Storm, nice New York bred, Paul. If the 13 or 14 get in, this is a major upgrade for me. I have him second right now. I'm concerned he's going to be too far back. We already talked about Machado. This is a closer that in theory is a better closer. Well, let me say a deeper closer than Wadsworth, but finishes faster than Wadsworth. The problem is he might be further back. I think Machado would be very smart if he's got this horse up closer. It's the other Brad Cox. Just want to mention that as well. And look, Spirit of St. Louis, guys, is really good. He's faced some good horses, obviously, even though he's New York bred. You guys don't have him anywhere. If the pace heats up, I think this is a very likable horse. I know he's got to weave through 9-10 horses, whatever. Anyway, any thoughts on this horse? We'll move on.
He was an A for me. He's the next horse I had.
Okay.
I think on my ticket that we talk about, I think I went like 4, even maybe 5 deep, 4 deep, maybe in this one, or at least wanted to. So in the one was right there for me.
I got him as a B, Howard. I like him.
Hey guys, Sylvain's got a picture now up on his comments. That's is that Saratoga? I think it is. I believe that is Saratoga. I love it, Sylvain.
I would say no.
No, that's not.
Well, that wall doesn't look. That white wall.
Yeah. You're right. I don't think so. Good call.
It's kind of sad that I would notice that.
We had the pleasure of meeting Sylvain, Paul, you and I at Saratoga this past summer.
We did
in person.
Very
nice gentleman. All right, Matt Miller. Duly note. Oh, he said there you go. It is Saratoga.
Wow.
Oh. Paul doesn't recognize a wall at Saratoga.
They must have painted when I wasn't looking.
You must be so ashamed, Paul. All right, guys, let's go on to the last race that I want to discuss, which means I need to take a banner off the screen. And then we actually don't have rants tonight. I think we actually have nice things to say. What? I don't know. What's going on with this show? Race 7. Oh, well, no wonder why we have nice things to say, guys, because we're going to end with the holiday cheer stakes. We can't give a rant after the holiday cheer stakes, guys.
Name the race.
Santa's going to be really pissed at us if we do that. 6 furlongs, guys, for the males. There he is, Paul, our buddy, our nemesis, Patches O'Houlihan, 3-1 at the bottom of the screen. Not the morning line favorite. We know who the morning line favorite is. My namesake. Howard Wolowitz, character from a fantastic show, one of my favorite shows of all time. There's also 2 eligibles. Let's see where we go, guys, to end this pick 4, and then we'll show our pick 4 tickets and have some nice things to say. I am not going with Howard first. I've got Howard actually in 3rd. I'm going 3-12-1. Pete's going 8-3-12. Paul's going 12-6-3. We are going 3 separate ways. Paul, you're not going to let Patches beat you this time. I have a strong opinion on him. I've got him 2nd. I'm curious to hear what you have to say. I just find it amazing. It's amazing, Paul, that this horse seems to always find fields with not like a ton of early speed. He's found another one, but he does have to travel outside of Woodbine for the first time ever. Will that matter according to you? No.
Did you see the note from Noah in the chat?
Yeah, just looking at it.
Noah who? No, I'm busy, man. I'm clicking a million buttons. I don't have time for him.
For the people who like to listen to Noah, he said pretty sure Patches is scratching.
Oh. So. Noah, thanks for joining the chat. Can you tell us why? I don't know why. I'm assuming you have reason there. So Noah, if you could expound.
Yeah, well,
that's great. But let's assume that he's in, Paul. Let's just assume he's in for right now.
Then I think he's honestly, Howard, if he's in, I think he is even a more likely winner than Wadsworth.
Wow.
I don't see how this horse doesn't win this race if he's in.
Really?
I think he's got a huge, and I know Wolowitz has run, but Wolowitz has done that on turf. We assume, minus the Gulfstream, 5 furlong maiden, but this horse Patches has done it on synthetic over and over again at the graded stakes level. Just got nailed last time by No Balls, who ran huge, who's a Breeders' Cup horse. We know. I'd be disappointed if the horse is a single A in my pick 4. Wow. So I'm going to have to adjust. Obviously, the one then becomes a real, even bigger player with the 12 out.
Noah said he saw it on X yesterday, so we know everything on X is true. So I'm sure that's accurate. But I'm just joking with Noah. I'm sure he wouldn't say that if it wasn't a reliable source. Oh, it's Ron Gernking from DRF said that. So if it came from him,
Woodbine.
Then I'm sure that's reliable. Wow. Well, that's going to change things quite a bit. That makes this race even tougher. And I was planning going skinny here, but Pete, you and I will talk about our top choices. I like the 3 anyway. Any way you look at it, guys. I was going to go skinny in this race, as we're going to talk about here in just a second. This is another Kelsey Danner horse who Run Carson is in just unbelievable form right now, guys. And what he did 2 back was really impressive. How about 106-4? I know that turf course was firm, guys, but wow. 106-4 at Belmont at Aqueduct, and then came back and didn't break well and still won a very tough allowance race that could easily have been a grade 3 at Churchill with a 120 time form. So its size again, I'm assuming this 3-year-old colt by McLean's Music, guys, is going to be up close if he breaks. If Patches is not in, I'm assuming he'll be second choice off of Howard Wolowitz. And I was slightly concerned, Pete and Paul, about the quick turnaround until I saw the October 6th to October 18th situation when he ran a hole in the wind. So obviously Kelsey knows his horse and thinks that he is not, that he's fine. It's been 3 weeks plus. I like Run Carson. Pete, you like the 8.
Yeah, I do like the 3. I had the 3 in second, so I'm with you. I'm with you.
One timer, the other Ravelli. Oh.
One timer, isn't that Matt's horse, Matt Miller? Wasn't that the horse from way back where he said, I think you said if this horse wins something, you'll do something or something. Matt, chime in because my memory sucks. But
I will show you where that race is. But yes,
yeah.
But you can talk about the horse. I'll tell you what I'm talking about.
So this horse is 3 for 3 on synth. Not many of them are on the page. The last one is in 2022, so you don't see a bunch of them there. Is that the
So the race that Pete was referring to was the 21 Breeders' Cup when One Timer was a 2-year-old, and I thought the horse had 0 chance at all, and he broke great and really ran. I know it says he finished 9th, but he lost to Twilight Gleaming by 2 lengths and actually ran a big race at 10-1. That was actually that was the year that I met Matt Miller, the Breeders' Cup at Del Mar. So that's the race that you were referring to.
I think I was thinking of the Franklin Simpson because I thought One Timer won the race at a
price.
Oh,
the one that he won. Yes, that was the Franklin Simpson.
I think it's that one, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, in 2022. When I said he has no
one.
chance and he won at 20-1. Exactly.
Yeah,
you're right.
Matt,
Sorry about
Matt
that.
liked the horse. I think that's the one. But I do think, he's run against some quality horses, as you could see. You see Cogburn or Rest Me Red, Gear Jockey, just solid horses. But hasn't been on the synth since what is that, May of 2022. But it's 3 for 3 on the synth. 1 for 1 at the distance, and the buyers and the time forms, they're still at a pretty good level for fitting in this field. And Ravelli, he's 37% wins, 67% in the money going turf to synth in sprint races. So it's something that he's 32% overall. So that's not surprising. His numbers are out of this world most of the time. But I just think this is the kind of horse that against this company, I think can get a little closer, can work out a nice trip. And whether Patches is in there or not, I think it's just going to sit a nice trip. And I think it'll sit close enough to where he could pounce. And if that sort of back class comes through, I think he can win this race at a decent price.
I believe you are correct about that. I think Patches needs to be out of the race for me to.
He's out. Patches is out.
Wow. Okay.
The
I
trainer,
apologize for not knowing that before the show, everyone. But
yeah, the tweet was because they do the 12, Howard. That was the reason.
wow. Well, that changes things, guys, and that will put one timer in the mix and would probably change our pick fours, but we'll deal with that in a second. Sunbay is in there. Paul, I don't know if you like Sunbay more or less. It's weird because you want more speed in the race for Sunbay, but then again, it gives Sunday a better chance to win because of really good horses out. The problem is that good horse is a speed horse. So a little bit weird there, right? For you personally?
Yeah, I had Senbei as a B. How I think I'll probably keep him right there, with all the moving parts you just noted. But yeah, certainly it makes a difference with Patches out.
And there's Howard Walwitz, who's got a big shot. Boy, he had a major trip. Boy, I'm tired, guys. He had a trouble trip, big time trouble trip at Saratoga. Everyone saw it, and then somehow was the favorite in the Franklin Simpson Grade 1 and won in Kentucky Downs and ran perfectly fine in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. I thought at almost 18-1. So I think Howard Walwitz is probably be the favorite based on class here. With Patches out, but it's going to be an interesting race, guys. It's really one heck of a sequence, and you're going to have to take a stand and make some decisions. So let's see what we're going to be doing here as I take the banner off the screen. And I said, we're going to do pick fours here, not best bets, and then we have two quick nice things to say, I believe, and we'll end the show. Let's go with Paul's pick four. And Paul, tell me what you want to do in the last race as I read this off, because you've got a dilemma now, sir. So Paul's going 2, 4, 7, 11 with 4, 5, 6, 8, 11 with 1, 3, 6, 7, 9, 10 with he had Patches. Now what, Paul?
Well, I think Pete would agree. In lieu of the extenuating circumstances, Pete, I should be allowed to replace my single with two horses. Don't you agree?
I agree 100%.
I'll take the 1 and 3 up into 120. Don't give us any lip.
I agree 100%.
I love this guy. All right. All right. I'm not, listen, Paul Allen's everyone's friend. I'm not going to give you any crap about that.
Well, I wouldn't go. That would be incorrect, but it's a noble thought.
All right, there it is. I gave him a budget, but Paul's blown it up. But okay.
Well, look at Patches.
In all seriousness, Paul, you probably go thinner.
Yeah, I would. If I were playing it for real, I would have to make some decisions elsewhere. Those three legs were predicated upon the single, obviously.
Of course.
So.
Okay. Good. I like it. Pete, you are, again, let me know if you want to add a different horse in the last race. You're going 4-7.
Pete.
You're going 4-7 with 4, 5, 6, 8, 11 with 6, 7, 9, 10 with 3, 8, not 12. Pete, I'll
just put the 1 in now with no Patches. Just for
nothing wrong with adding Howard. Still $60. No problem. There we go.
I like the Big Bang Theory. I like the Big Bang Theory as well.
Big Bang Theory is a great show. 1, 3, 8 on the end for Pete. I have a $50 ticket. It is 2, 4, 7, 8, 11 with 5, 6, 8, 11, 12 with 7, 10. And again, I would change the 10 to the 1 in leg 3 if the AEs get in, FYI. And then I have 3, 12, and am I just going to defer to chalk here? Yeah. How can I not use my namesake now? I mean, I got it, right? I'll go 1, 3. I don't love it, but that's what I'm going to do. So I'll go 1, 3. I'm going deeper in the first two legs than you guys are. And so, like Pete, if you can get 4 or 7 in that first race, you're really going to be, happy because you're only going 2 deep. So again, everyone's going different ways. We got a lot of similar horses, guys, though, amongst us. That is our pick 4. All right, we're going to end the show here with two very nice things. I'm not going to put the rant of the week, Paul, but you have something you want to say nicely, and I have something I want to say, and then we'll wrap it up. Go ahead, Paul.
Okay, well, I just wanted to send a special shout out today, Howard. I think we all have some couples in racing that we admire. Morley and Maggie, Ryan Hansen and Michelle Yu, perhaps on the West Coast. If the Baffetts are your cup of tea, Bob and Jill, Katie and Trevor, Katie Davis and Trevor McCarthy. But without question, I know my favorite couple in racing is Kelly and Leslie. And it's Kelly and Leslie Dorman Cody's parents, who today are celebrating their 21st wedding anniversary.
Wow.
Married on December 12th after a 139-day engagement, because Kelly was smart enough to realize that he wasn't going to do any better and he better seal that deal fast. Okay.
Wow.
So they had
Very
their,
cool.
No, let me say this. I got that wrong. 139 days after their first date.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds a little more.
After their first
Okay.
date was on July 26th. I hope you people are going to buy the book. I don't want to ruin all this. July 26th, I believe it was. And 139 days later, Mr. Dorman married up, kind of like Empire State Building up. So we congratulate them.
Absolutely.
It's been well documented, their role in racing. They gave us Cody, who gave us Cody's wish, and hope they have a great day, and we'll celebrate properly the next time in their company.
Very nice.
Congratulations.
Yes, happy anniversary to some unbelievable people, and happy holidays to them and everyone, of course, out there. We got a few more shows before the Christmas and coincidentally Hanukkah on the same night, same day as Christmas this year. So very interesting there. We'll wish everyone official big time happy holidays, Merry Christmas, everything, etc. Happy Hanukkah in next week. Here's my big thing, guys. And it's a good thing. Lisa Lazarus. Now, when people hear that name, they're like, some people not a big fan. She is the CEO of HISA. There's a big global symposium this week in Tucson, Arizona, everyone. They have it every year. I'd like to go to that one year, by the way. Unfortunately, there's something called work that gets in the way. However, she made an announcement, guys, that's worth noting. And Paul, I know this is going to touch your heart, especially because all we hear about in this game from certain people and certain organizations is negativity, right? Well, Lisa Lazarus announced this week that the nation's racehorse fatality rate, the racehorse fatality rate, the death rate, is going to be less than 1 per 1,000 starts this year. And that'd be the first time it has been that low in the 15-year history of the equine injury database. So I tip my cap to all the trainers, owners, horsemen who are trying to do the right thing, who are following HISA rules. And we know not everyone in this country, not every state is following HISA right now. That's a whole other story, but I'm going to keep it positive. Guys, deaths are way down. I did a little math because I'm a math teacher, guys. In general, at a bigger track, that means only 1 death per month. An entire month of racing and only 1 death, and 1 death is still too many. We all understand that. Paul, you mentioned it. And this is only for actual races. This does not include training. I just want to mention that. Full disclosure, it does not include training, but 1 death basically per month during the races for an entire track. It's down 33% this year. It's down to 0.88 this year per 1,000 starts, which is a 33% decline from 23 and a 30% drop from the previous low in 2022. So PETA, suck it. Take that. Any thoughts, guys, on that?
And
really
now
great
it's
news.
amazing.
Great news that came out from Lisa Lazarus this week.
And it's amazing that we've been able to do that running races on real dirt.
Yes, and turf and to PETA, and synthetic.
Yeah, but
yes.
I heard a few years ago that we were doomed if we didn't move every race onto synthetic.
That is.
Hey,
oh,
Paul,
look who's in the chat,
did you look
by
at
the
the
way.
comment, Paul? Look at what better way? Go ahead, Paul. Why don't you?
Well, I would hope I'm pretty well goddamn near the top of the list after the 2 people who live in his house. Jesus.
What better way to spend your anniversary than enjoying the HHH Racing podcast? Obviously.
And if we're distracting him, I'm sure Leslie owes us a debt of gratitude.
Paul, can you read that for our audio listeners, please?
Oh, yeah. It says, thank you, Paul. Can't argue that statement. That's about him marrying up. Are you trying to bump up on my Christmas list? Well, as I said, I would like to humbly think I was already residing toward the penthouse. But maybe it's the outhouse, Pete.
Thanks,
it
Kelly.
Sounds about right.
Thanks, Kelly. Thanks, Leslie. We love you. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
It's amazing
Kelly.
that you guys are watching the show tonight. Go have some champagne dinner or something. Enjoy with your, enjoy the evening. Guys, again, appreciate you coming on. I'm very excited about Turfway. Live money contest, all stakes, 50-cent pick 4, huge fields. The weather's going to be just fine. It's the PETA. It doesn't really matter what the weather is anyway. Final comment again. Monday night, ladies and gentlemen, big show this Monday night. December 16th, Horsing Around. It is going to be our Horse of the Year conversation show. We're going to have taped interviews, 2 of them, one from Mike Rapoli and one from Kenny McPeak. I'll be moderating those interviews. I'm fascinated to hear what they have to say, and we'll ask them questions like, Pete, you got a question that you said I should ask them, right?
Yeah, the question I like is, if you were voting for one of the other 2 horses aside from your horse, who would you vote for and why? So that we can get some, because everybody's going to say their horse is good. They have all the reason in the world to vote for their horse. So yeah. I'm not sure that's always the best answer. Let's find out some real juice from them and see what they think.
Please spread the word. I'm really looking. It's going to be an honor to have those 2 on. The first time we've had them on our airwaves and in the, going on, 4 years here of the show. So very excited to have them on. Please make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you remember to join us this Monday night at 7:30 Eastern. For my wonderful co-hosts, Paul Halloran, Pete Visco, Howard Kravitz, go Howard Wolowitz in race 7, my namesake. This has been episode 384 of Picks and Ponies. Crush your bets at the Synthetic Championships, Turfway Park, this Saturday night. Take care. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H Horse Racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.